The sun was sliding down over the Arizona horizon, spilling molten gold across the dry earth as the wind blew low through the cattle fences of Dustfall Ranch, a lonely piece of land that had only one owner left, Cole Harding, the man locals called the Silent Rider. Cole lived with the weight of old memories, the echo of gunfire from distant battles, and the quiet guilt of outliving every partner he ever rode with. He didn't mind his solitude anymore. He had accepted it the way a man accepts the shape of his own shadow. But something changed that afternoon, when the dust trail to the east stirred with unusual movement and a single figure appeared, tall, proud, walking with confidence as though the desert itself parted to make room for her. Cole straightened from the fence post he was repairing, narrowing his eyes under the brim of his worn hat. It wasn't common for anyone to wander toward his ranch without a horse, much less a woman dressed in fringed buckskin, decorated with silver pieces that glimmered like drops of moonlight. She walked toward him with her chin up, her stride strong, her eyes sharp like a hawk scanning the plains. She was Apache, there was no mistaking it, and she carried herself not just like a warrior, but like someone carrying a story. Cole kept his hand near his belt, out of habit, but relaxed when he saw her raise her hands in peace. "You are Cole Harding," she said, her voice firm yet calm, shaped with a melodic accent that carried the wind's whisper. "I have walked 3 days to find you." Cole's brow furrowed. "Ma'am, I don't reckon I've ever met you before. You need water, food?" She stepped closer until she stood just inches from him, her gaze steady, her presence almost unsettling in its intensity. "My name is Nayeli," she said. "Daughter of Chief Red Elk." Cole stiffened. He had heard that name. Red Elk was a leader of the Eastern Apache, a man respected for his wisdom and feared for his fierce protection of his people. "Your father sent you?" Cole asked. "No," she said, a faint, bitter smile touching her lips. "He would never send me. He wants me tied to a man of our tribe, a man I cannot love, a man who treats me like a prize." She stepped even closer, raising her hand to gently touch Cole's face, unexpected. Bold and strangely soft. Cole froze, surprised by the sudden intimacy. "I have traveled because I'm tired," she whispered, her dark eyes searching his. "Tired of being without a man who sees me. Tired of walking alone among men who only want my lineage, not my heart." Cole swallowed hard, unsure what to make of this woman who spoke with the honesty of a storm. "Ma'am, you must be mistaken. I'm no hero. I'm just a rancher, alone on a lot of empty land. A man who lives alone," she replied, letting her fingers fall from his cheek. "Just like a woman who has been alone for far too long." She looked around the ranch, the quiet corral, the distant mountains, the house that stood like a lone sentinel against the endless desert. "Your land is silent," she said softly. "Your heart is silent, but I feel something here, something calling me." Cole took a small step back, trying to steady himself. Women didn't walk up to him and speak like this, not ever. His voice came out rough. "What exactly are you asking, Nayeli?" She met his stare without fear, without hesitation. "I want your protection, and your company. I want a place where I am not judged. I want a man who does not fear the strength of a woman." Cole shook his head. "You don't know me." "Then let me learn," she answered. The wind blew her hair across her face, and for a moment Cole saw something. Loneliness, strength, defiance, and longing all wrapped together. She wasn't just asking for shelter. She was asking for belonging. But before he could respond, the distant thunder of hooves rumbled across the plains. Nayeli's eyes widened. "They followed me." She turned to the horizon where 7 riders were approaching, carrying spears and rifles. Apache trackers, her father's men. Cole's instinct snapped like a whip. He grabbed her wrist. "Inside, now!" But she stood her ground, refusing to hide. "No, if they see me run into your home, they'll call me dishonored." "They'll attack," Cole cursed under his breath. "What do you want me to do?" Nayeli faced the incoming riders, her chin high. "Stand with me, rancher. Just stand with me." Cole had faced outlaws, bandits, and war, but he had never faced the truth of another person's heart placed so openly before him. And though he didn't understand why, he stepped beside her, shoulders squared, eyes hard. The riders slowed, forming a semicircle. "Nayeli!" the leader barked. "Come with us, now." She didn't move. "No." The man glared at Cole. "Step away from her." Cole shook his head. "She came here on her own." The man's hand tightened on his rifle. "She belongs to us." Nayeli's voice cut through the tension like a blade. I belong to no one. And the desert wind held its breath as the standoff began, Nayeli standing fierce, Cole standing beside her without fully understanding why, and the Apache riders ready for war. And in that moment, a bond formed between the lone rancher and the Apache woman, one forged not from romance or fate, but from the raw courage of two lonely souls who desperately needed a place to belong. To be continued. The men on horseback shifted uneasily, their shadows stretching across the sand as the final rays of daylight painted the sky crimson. Cole could feel the tension crackling like dry brush ready to catch fire. He wasn't a man who looked for trouble, but the Apache warrior's eyes told him trouble had already found him. Nayeli held her stance with a calm defiance that both impressed and unnerved Cole. She was fearless, not because she believed she couldn't be harmed, but because she had finally chosen freedom over obedience. The leader, a broad-shouldered warrior named Koda, glared down at her with a mixture of anger and something else. Sorrow, maybe. Nayeli, Koda growled. Your father is grieving. He believes you have been taken. She stepped forward. I left by choice. Tell him that. He will not believe it, Koda barked. He believes no woman would walk alone into the desert. Then, he does not know his daughter, she replied sharply. Cole watched the exchange, realizing that this wasn't just rebellion. This was a lifetime of expectations crushing down on one woman's shoulders. Koda pointed his rifle toward Cole. You, white man, step away. She must return to her tribe. Cole didn't budge. She says she ain't going. That's her choice. You misunderstand, Koda snapped. We do not take orders from women. Nayeli lifted her chin. That is why I left. A murmur rippled through the riders. Some looked uncertain, others angry. The cultural weight of her defiance pressed down on all of them. Cole could feel her heart pounding, not from fear, but from holding her ground against 7 armed men. It stirred something inside him. Something he hadn't felt in years, respect mixed with a protective fire he didn't know he still had. Koda leaned down from his saddle. If you stay with this rancher, you will bring war to his land. Then let it come, Nayeli answered. Cole stepped forward, surprising even himself. Now hold on, he said, voice low. Nobody's fighting on my land if I can help it. But the lady made her choice, and I'll stand by it. Nayeli glanced at him, surprised, grateful, and almost relieved. Koda signaled his men. 3 dismounted, spreading out. Nayeli whispered, Cole, you don't need to risk yourself. Cole kept his eyes on the warriors. Maybe not. But I reckon you've walked far enough alone. The first warrior reached for Nayeli. Cole shifted his stance, blocking the man's path. I wouldn't. The man hesitated. Cole's hand hovered near his holster, not threatening but ready, and something in his expression made the warrior step back. Koda raised his hand. His voice thundered across the dusty ground. Enough! We will not shed blood today. Then he looked at Nayeli. But this choice separates you from us. If you leave, you are no longer of the tribe. The words hit her like a stone to the chest. Her breath caught, but she didn't falter. Then so be it. She whispered a soft prayer in Apache, her voice trembling only once when she said, Goodbye. My mother. Cole felt something break inside him. No woman should have to sever ties with her family to live freely. Koda's eyes softened for a brief moment. I hope the spirits guide you. Then he turned his horse sharply and led the riders away, disappearing into the dusk. Silence fell over the ranch, broken only by Nayeli's quiet exhale. Cole removed his hat, running a hand through his hair. You okay? He asked. She looked at him with a mixture of pain and strength. A warrior does what must be done, even when it hurts? Cole asked. Especially then. She tried to hide the tears threatening her eyes, but Cole noticed. He stepped closer. You ain't alone anymore, he said gently. Nayeli looked up, the moonlight catching the silver ornaments on her clothing. Why did you stand for me? He shrugged slightly. Maybe I'm tired of being alone too. Her eyes softened, and for the first time, a real smile touched her lips. They walked back toward the house, the night quiet but full of an unspoken connection. Inside, Cole offered her water, a blanket, a place to rest. She sat by the fire, watching the flames dance. I don't know what tomorrow brings, she said quietly. Your tribe might return, Cole replied. Or they might accept your decision. Either way, we'll face it. She hesitated. We? He met her eyes. Yeah, the crackling fire lit their faces as they sat together, two souls who had spent years wandering emotionally, finding a strange and unexpected refuge in each other. For the first time that day, Nayeli allowed herself to relax.
Cole, she whispered, do you think a woman like me can ever find peace?
Maybe peace ain't something you find, he said. Maybe it's something you build with someone who ain't afraid to stand beside you. She stared into the flames, letting his words settle deep in her heart. Outside, the desert night sang with distant coyotes and cool wind. Inside, two lonely people began the first chapter of something new. Not romance forced by fate, but a bond shaped by choice, courage, and the wild spirit of the West.